Hi, friends. It has been a hot minute since you've heard from Leanne and I on a podcast. We finally found some time to sit down and record one. And we wanted you guys to just get to know us a little bit more on a personal level by sharing our personal success stories of how we had gotten pregnant after the age of 40. Both had different approaches, and so you can kind of see different sides and different ways of getting pregnant, and just learning a little bit more about us. Hope you enjoy, and again, you want to stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you a little bit of information on what we've been up to and what we're going to be offering our audience soon. For those of you that want a little bit more help from us to have your own success story. So sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to the Fertility Happy Hour. We are Sandra and Leanne, your fertility besties, here to bring some fun and laughter to your fertility journey, and of course, lots of tips, hints, and tricks. So kick back with your favorite mocktail or a cocktail, and let's have some fun. Yeah, here we go. Hello,
Okay.
Here we are.
We're here again.
Welcome,
It's been a
ladies.
while though.
Yeah, it has. We're back in action.
I know.
I missed you, Sandra, doing this podcast.
I know what? I miss
I
it
talked to
too.
you. I talk to you like 750 times a day.
I know.
When we do the podcast, it's special.
It is. It's more fun.
It is.
I know. I feel like our lives are just too crazy. I mean,
yes.
we don't even do anything that special. It's just, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, or we haven't lately. It's just, I don't know what it is. Like day-to-day life, we just can't find 20 minutes to just sit down and like
it is
record something. I don't know why.
Well, tonight we thought it was really important to give our listeners some hope, I think is the focus, because Sandra and I both had babies after 40, and we really want to instill hope in times where everybody is telling you that you're too old to have babies and that your eggs are no good, and you're struggling and you're feeling like it's never going to happen. You're the only one out of your friends that isn't pregnant, and we think that you need a little hope, and we're here to give it to you with our own stories. We think it's really important.
Right. And also too, I think that, not everyone really knows our story, or doesn't really know much about us as like humans.
Yeah. And why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. Exactly. I think it's always good because, I mean, to be truthful, I think you and I are very relatable, and I think that's why people really like working with us, because we're both very empathetic and relatable and fun, which I think is important in life,
Yes,
because if you're not having fun.
Yeah, especially having a lighthearted outlook when you're trying to do something serious like conceiving a child.
Right. I know. You have to laugh. Like, I always think some people take themselves way too seriously, and I mean, sometimes I do, and then I just get really pissed off at myself. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is, like, I think you need to have some laughter, and everybody needs laughter in their life, and to look at the bright side of things.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that though, I think some people hate people that always have like a silver lining, but
yeah, it's hard.
We're not your cup of tea.
Yeah, it's hard for them to see the silver lining, so then they kind of resent the people that do.
Yeah, Yeah.
But it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference in your health. It makes all the
Mm-hmm.
difference in like your goals. And if you don't believe in yourself, if you in the health arena, if you don't believe in your body, then you're not, you're not going to get to where you need to go. So,
Right.
I've always felt like, doctors that give, like cancer patients like a timeline or a prognosis, like that's one of my biggest pet peeve. And now in the fertility world, a big pet peeve is
Yeah.
like you're not going to get pregnant. So,
I know.
and
I know. I mean, and
we've both
yeah,
been
speaking
told
of
that.
cancer patients, what's that?
We've both been told, right? That it's going to be really difficult at our age to have,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll get into my story first, and I'll do it quick because I know both of our stories are pretty detailed. But I so I was 40, I was 40, newly single, and just gonna start freaking out, like, what the hell? Like, this sucks. Like, I have to start all over again, like thinking I was with this same guy for 5 years, and he told me for years that we're gonna get married and have a family, blah, blah, blah. And like, so I really thought, I put all my eggs in one basket, which, so this is a lesson to all you ladies who are not married yet, or, just don't put all of your eggs in one basket, like kind of prepare yourself. And, maybe freeze your eggs when you're younger so that you don't get into that position. But anyway, so I was 40 and newly single, and I was just kind of like thinking, like, what if I don't meet someone for another couple of years and then it's too late to have kids? So went to a fertility doctor to just think about freezing my eggs. And right away they were kind of like, yeah, because of your age, you're going to want to do this like right now, because even if you start trying like now or in a couple of months from now, it's probably gonna be really difficult for you to get pregnant naturally. So you're gonna want to freeze your eggs now, so that when you do like IVF, you have your eggs already. Um, and so I was kind of like, all right, I guess. So I went through like this seminar, and then they kind of went through like the whole process, and it just kind of freaked me out. I'm like, I don't know. It was like something about like I felt like in a way I was like playing God or just kind of messing with like the universe and what was meant for me. And but I think like one of the biggest things for me was that I always felt that I was going to have a child. I didn't really know how it was going to happen, with who or when, you know, but I always knew, too, like, I'm not going to get a sperm donor and like do this on my own. I always felt like I'll meet someone and maybe they'll have kids or we'll adopt, like, or I'll get pregnant, whatever. But I just always knew in my heart that like I'm gonna get pregnant, like, or not that I'm gonna get pregnant, but I'm gonna
You're going
have
to
a
be a
child.
mother. You're
And
going to be a
yeah.
mother. So you were really honing in on motherhood, not so much of the process of
Oh
pregnancy,
yeah, I
how
never.
the pathway
Yeah.
of how that's going to happen. It was more about
Right.
being a mother.
Yeah, I mean, I was never, even when I was with my ex, it was never really about getting pregnant and having like the pregnancy thing. It was always about like having a family and having a child, and just I always looked at like the future of like, this is why I want, a child, is to have a family, and never really cared about like being pregnant. Even when I was pregnant, I'm like, this kind of sucks. But anyway. um so yeah, so I just didn't want to go. I just bagged the whole freezing eggs thing. And I honestly, I left it up to God and the universe. I'm like, you know what? If I'm meant to have a child and get pregnant, like, it's going to happen, or if I'm meant not to have kids, like, that's fine too. Like, I have to be okay with my life and the outcome. And I don't want to force things, like, and that's what I felt like. I felt like I was going to start to force things to happen. And I just didn't really feel like I was ready to do that. And so I bagged the whole freezing eggs thing at 40. And then I was dating someone at the time. And then a couple months later, oops, pregnant naturally. Yeah. And that was it, And but I think, my my claim to fame was that at that moment when I was like, I'm not doing this egg freezing thing, I said to myself, I'm like, I am going to live life for myself. Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm happy and I'm like just being happy daily, doing things that make me happy, having fun, and, just being surrounded by great people and just having the time of my life. And I also took care of my body. Like, I was really, like running a lot more and just eating really healthy. But I mean, everything in moderation. I was also going out and having like pizza and drinking wine and, like on weekends. And but yeah, so that was my story
So I think
on how it all happened.
your success of, I mean, not, there's not a lot of 40-year-olds that get pregnant like so quickly. But I think like a lot of it has to do with like a combination of your mindset and like your enjoyment of life. And at the same time, I mean, for those of you who don't know Sandra, like she really is. I mean, she says that she does things in moderation, but she's a picture of health. Like, so it really does play a
Yeah.
huge role.
Meanwhile, I'm having a glass of wine.
But she
On a
like
Tuesday, but I'm on vacation.
she she manages her stress, like she exercises, she eats great. So her body was already prepared to do to do what it's meant to do naturally. So she didn't have to struggle in other areas. So I think
Yeah.
like that's where we think is so super important is like the mindset with a combo of, of lifestyle choices that really makes it, right?
Oh yeah. I definitely. I think it was just, yeah, like a combination of all of it. You're right. Because even before that, I was still healthy, I was still kind of doing the same things as far as the way I ate and, exercised, but my mindset was different for sure.
Yeah.
I was like stressed about like my age and pressuring my ex at the time to like, let's get married, let's start having kids, like just really focused on like, I'm getting old, like I need to
Yeah.
like have a baby now.
Yeah. So just
So
letting go of the age factor and just being you, like really just being you.
yeah. Also, yeah, and like letting go of trying to control, like the outcome of that
Yeah.
and just really leaving it up to like, what's meant to be is meant to be. And like honestly being okay with I even though I felt in my bones that like I'm going to have a child at, somehow. Again, I thought to myself, like, up until that point, I was always like, I'm gonna have my own child, But then it was more like accepting, like, maybe I'll have a stepchild, or, like maybe at some point along the line, like if I meet someone in 5 years, like maybe we'll adopt. Like it's if I really want to be a mom, like it'll happen, but it might not happen the way that I always thought it would,
Right.
and it,
And
it still didn't. Like,
but I think
I
like if you have a plan, like not a plan B, but if you have alternative ways that you're open to become a mom, it takes so much pressure off of one thing. Like if you're doing IVF,
Mhm.
like that's it. You're so honed in on this is it. It has to happen like this. So if
Yeah.
you have like if you're open-minded to other pathways, then you don't have so much pressure on yourself.
Right. Hmm.
And I
Yeah, for
think
sure.
that's like really significant. Is taking the pressure off.
And you know what? It reminds me of the story of one of our past clients who did get pregnant through IVF after we treated her, and she went through the 6 treatments. I don't know if you remember, like she wasn't going to do IVF, but then her insurance, like she was
Mhm.
like fighting something with her insurance, and they finally were like, okay, like we're gonna cover an IVF cycle. And I remember treating her, and she found out the news like the night before that her insurance was like, we're going to pay for it all. And she wasn't really prepared to do IVF again. She really thought like, if I do, it might be a while because I'm fighting my insurance company over this.
Right.
So when she found out, she's like, I'm kind of freaked out. Like, I didn't think I was going to go through this again, like so soon. So she was really scared that, like, okay, I'm going to do this again because she had a failed IVF before she started seeing us. And she's like, what if it fails again? Because she literally didn't get any embryos out of the last IVF cycle.
Yeah.
So she was really nervous that like she has this one shot again. And what if it's like wasted and she doesn't get any embryos? So I
Right.
told her, I go, look, you look at this IVF cycle because you didn't think it was going to happen, that this is just like an added bonus. Like this
Right.
might be another, like, hey, I'm doing everything else that I can to get pregnant naturally. And but I'm gonna throw this in the mix. And if it
Yeah.
works, great. But if not, like I'm still, you know, really working on myself and my body to
Yeah.
try to get pregnant naturally. And
Right.
then she got pregnant with that IVF cycle. And now her baby's like 6 months old or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
know.
she was
Yeah.
43, 42,
Yeah.
43 at the time. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. Yeah. The less pressure, the better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so when I was 39, um, well, I was just married. So I guess I was 30. I got married when I was 38, but, um, and I had in the back of my head that I was, they tell you that you're old but I kind of
I know at
started,
38. Like,
yeah,
isn't that sad?
right. But I knew in the back of my head, because of what they tell you, that I needed to really be in really good health because I'm gonna, if I get married, we're gonna try right away. And so I did a lot of things, supplemental things like to my health. I did acupuncture and I did specific,
Mm-hmm.
I would say alternative medicine things to make sure I took the right supplements and um, to ensure that when we were ready to go, there would be a lot less struggles. And we got pregnant within 3 months of trying. So that was my first, and I had my first
I
when
know
I
that's really quick too.
yeah,
Three
it was.
months.
Um,
But I remember talking to you and you thought 3 months was like forever.
it felt a long time, yeah, because when
Yeah.
you're 39, you feel like every month is like an eternity. Um, but I attributed it. A lot of it was I did have a mindset like you did. Like I didn't put myself with a lot of pressure. I was just like I was newly married and I was just having fun and I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll be a mom one way or the other. However it happens, and I'm gonna really take care of my health. And I mean, we are both healthcare practitioners, so that's easy for us to say. That's why we love to educate our clients on how they
Mhm.
can really boost their fertility because it comes natural for us, but other people not so much. And that's what we want to share. But
Mhm.
it is a huge factor in successful conceiving. But after I had my first, I was, like I said, I was 42 and I was having some issues, not with getting pregnant, but with miscarriages. And they said it was because, I was getting older and my eggs may not be in tip top shape.
Yeah.
Um, so I had a couple miscarriages, which led to a couple surgeries, D&Es, and what I didn't realize after one of my D&Es, I didn't get my period for a really long time, and I was like, "How am I supposed to try to get pregnant if I'm not getting my period?" It's been like 8
Yeah.
months. So, so sure enough, the reason why I wasn't getting pregnant, and a lot of people don't understand this, but physiologically, there was scar tissue. There was scar tissue from a previous C-section. There was scar tissue from the 2 or 3 D&Es I had. So scar tissue was building up in my uterus and my lining, and I could not conceive because my environment was not conducive to having an embryo implant.
Yeah.
So um, so we did IVF and we did one cycle and I was successful. Um, but that was 4 years ago. So but as I became a fertility practitioner, I came to realize that there are things that can be done physiologically um, in your body, increasing blood
Mhm.
flow. These are some of the things that Sandra and I work with, increasing blood flow, decreasing scar tissue, and helping the actual environment of your uterus that can really, really, well, one way or the other, it can impede conceiving or it could really, really help if you work um to alleviate those issues. But
Mhm.
in retrospect, I feel like I could have not had to go through IVF and I could have um taken other course of action, more holistic ways to improve my lining, my environment, and stimulate my reproductive system, and I wouldn't have had to, manipulate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for fertility and reproductive endocrinologists. And they do amazing work. And I'm very thankful for them.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could have given myself a little bit more support on my own and done a little bit more to to s to heal what needed to be
Mhm.
healed first, before I just
Yeah.
jumped right in and gotten scared. I could have given myself a little more time. They said, "You're 42, you have to do this now." Like, that's it. Like, it's now or never. But here's the
Yeah.
thing, a 42-year-old, okay, it's a number. If you look at your health, there's cellular health. Like, you can be a 25-year-old person and have the health of a 45-year-old, okay? You can also be a 45-year-old and have the health of a 25-year-old. So, it's really the person's
Very true.
cellular health and what they do and how their lifestyle is that makes a difference, not just an age, a number.
Right.
So yeah. So I think that I think it's important that I went into this line of work just to give women hope that this can happen 100% in your later years, and
Mhm.
B, you can have a huge hand in it. You don't have to rely on reproductive endocrinologists.
Yeah.
Um, and we like to really dive in to what is the obstacle that's causing you to not get pregnant and help you figure it out.
Yeah. And to your point too, with reproductive endocrinologists, like, they're great at what they do. I mean, you know, their job is to treat women who go in there and all the women who go see them. I mean, I would assume that they're all having, some fertility challenges. That's why they're going to fertility, you know, doctor. And so for them,
Or it's not
they're
happening just as quick as
right, right.
expect. Yeah.
Yeah. So for them, like their job is to just be like, okay, like you're not getting pregnant naturally. So our job is to
Get you
see
pregnant.
if we can help you get pregnant in a different way. Like their job isn't really to be like, well, let's keep trying to get pregnant naturally. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
not really, I mean, there might be some out there who will be, who really do take the time, but like, I mean, think about it, like they're trained to do these procedures and to, you know, um, just help women get pregnant in different ways.
Right.
So I think for us, um, we want to try to help women understand like that you can still try to get pregnant naturally. If
And
you
you have
just
more
try to
control.
dig a little bit deeper, yeah, like,
Yeah.
or if you do want to do IVF, and you're having these issues for a while, like there is something that is causing these issues. So even if you do IVF, or an IUI, like if you're not solving any problems, like IVF or IUI might not solve that problem either,
Yeah.
So
And then it's a
you kind of have to,
wasted cycle, wasted
yeah,
money, and you're not getting
right. I
um
mean, and that's why, yeah, like a lot of them are only like, what, it's a 20 to 30% success rate with IVF, so
you know, you think about that and like, that's not super high.
Right. Right.
And it's tough. I mean, I think a lot of women that I know anyway had to do, um, more than one, you know, so you think
Yeah.
about how much money that is.
I think that rate, that 20-30% rate is because they're not in their tip top fertile self going
Right.
into the procedure. Like they're going in and they haven't solved the issue. They're going in
Right.
and let's do IVF. And then they're kind of coming
Yeah.
up with some failed cycles because they're like, when you go into IVF, you should be like your cellular health and your fertile health and your hormones should be like really, really good. And your egg
Right.
quality should be at its best. And
Mm-hmm.
what we teach is that you can totally improve your egg quality and increase the success of IVF. But no one
Yeah.
seems to be doing that prior to a cycle. Except for when
No, yeah. I mean, in some women, I have to say, I think, you know, and some women do, they're, you know, we've met those clients that have researched every day, all day long, you know, and like they're doing the things and, you know, but I have to say, even the ones that like, I'm like, oh my God, she probably knows more than I do, you know,
Right.
like, cause she's, you know, like every supplement, everything, you know, like can rattle off what this does and what that does. But then sometimes it's like kind of simple things like, or you and I think are simple. And maybe it's just because we're in, you know, we've been in the healthcare field for over 20 years. But, you know, sometimes we think like this is common sense and they don't realize it. And we're like, wow, like that's a pretty important fact, you
I
know, like
agree.
factor in this
Yeah.
that you've been missing. And, you know, yeah, you can read about every supplement there is out there and every diet or whatever and try it. But, you know, sometimes it's, you know, like the easiest, simple things like to us
Right.
that some women don't know that can make like a huge difference in their
Right.
fertility.
I agree. Yeah. It's those little things that, like even when you hear of like a woman, and I don't know, I don't want to, you know, poke fun at anybody, but those women that are tracking their ovulation on the phone, like, are you ovulating? Yeah. Well, my phone says I'm ovulating.
I
Okay. Well,
know.
that's not a way to track your ovulation.
Right.
That's not,
Right.
you are not having sex at the correct time. So let's start from ground one. But those are
Yeah.
things that, you know, we assume everybody knows, but we're really surprised that you don't. Or
Right.
or you know a lot of stuff, but guess what? If you don't have like a strategy in place to implement this stuff, it's not even that good. Like
Right.
it's in your head and you're not finding an easy way
Yeah.
to make it part of your lifestyle or to
Yeah.
incorporate
Like you're
things.
not like, yeah, like if you don't execute it right,
Yeah.
then whatever, all the information you have in your head
Is
is not going to do
useless.
you any good. Or
Yeah.
if you're like kind of, you know, doing it at random, and not
Right.
really understanding why you're doing it, you know, or understanding your body, then it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
You know,
And it and
so
it
I think,
and it doesn't make it stick. Like if I don't know the reason why I'm doing something, I won't do it.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to, you know, with anything, I'm always like, what?
Yeah. Why am I doing
I'm
this?
the one who asks the stupid questions because
I
I
do
need to
too.
know. I'm like, I need to know this because I can't fake my way through it. I could try,
I do
but
too. I do too.
even if I try, I'm looking it up on Google. I'm like,
Me
okay,
too.
yeah,
Why is this happening? What am I
yeah,
doing this for?
like, what does this mean? But yeah, you know, and that's the biggest thing is like, you know, I think for us, like we just want to help women kind of understand more
Yeah.
what things mean, you know, what what some signs are that they should be looking for, you know, with their bodies that could be indicative of something
Yeah.
else that they might not have thought about. And, you know, and it's sad because they rely on the doctors and like, I mean, we do too, but at the same time, because we are healthcare practitioners, we dig really
Dig.
deep because we know, like
Yeah.
I'll go into a doctor, I'll be like, yeah, so I really think that I have a brain tumor. And they'll be like, you're insane. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm
Right.
not. I
Well,
mean, you know, and right.
it's true. We love to
Hi,
dig,
Connor.
and that I think
Well, yeah, you know, you kind of
that's
have
what,
to.
yeah. And no one else seems to be doing the digging.
No,
And we
no,
love to really understand and
I
figure
know.
things out. So,
I know. I
um,
mean, I do have to say, I don't have a brain tumor and I was never diagnosed with one,
yes,
but,
she's not the best
you know,
diagnostician, I should say.
I
She
know.
really didn't think that she did have one.
But I mean, but you know, I think it's important to know, I don't know, you know, like I just know my body. So I knew that there was something off with me. And I mean, and it wasn't a brain tumor, thank God, but there was, you know, and you
Yeah,
actually sent me to the right PT who helped with my neck and
yeah.
it made all the symptoms go away.
And I think too,
But
like
you know,
if you try to really understand, and I think what we do is teach women to feel, understand, and the processes of the body. So like a lot of people
Mhm.
are in tune with what's going on, and they don't know how to get in tune with what's going on. So
Right.
it's kind of like a tool that you need to, it's like a skill you need to develop.
Yeah.
Because if that's
Well,
not,
and two,
yeah,
don't you find that some of the women we've seen do think that they really know what's going on, but then,
yeah,
you know, I'm thinking of one in particular where it's been like months and months and like that I, you know, like I mean, I tell you every week, I'm like, there's something else going on. There's
right.
something else going on with her.
And you
I
know
mean, and
what? You know what the good thing is too, is that after working with us, she is really now into, like, she's pretty much covering all her bases. Like
yeah,
she's really getting to this finish line. Like it's
yeah,
been pretty cool to see like the progress between, not understanding and really like taking your own initiative to
yeah,
understand and dig and figure out. We have to be our
yeah, absolutely.
advocates, unfortunately. That's it.
Yeah. But I think, you know, and it is a shame that it took her this long
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
I think again, it was kind of trusting that, you know, when she did go through like IVF and stuff, like trusting that like they wouldn't make me go through this unless like everything was okay, you know?
Exactly.
But
Right.
then finding out later that like, hey, things aren't like everything is not okay. And it's
Right.
kind of stinks, you know? But
Yeah.
um, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's like, I mean, for me, I would be like, well, at least I know what the issue was, right? Instead of
Right.
being like, I tried everything and I threw the kitchen sink at it and they were still like, and I'm picture perfect health. And it still didn't work. Like
Mhm.
that would drive me crazy. I'd be
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Like, but
Right.
then if I knew like, you know, there was this, that, you know, and I tried everything, but like, you know, like sometimes it's just not in the cards, especially when you have so much stuff going on that you have to try to like, you know, rectify and it just might not happen. And like I feel like I would be better at like being okay with that, like knowing like I know what was going
Yeah.
on in my body and I tried and like sometimes just, you know, you just can't get over those hurdles, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, it stinks, but I think as long as you know, I feel like it's better when you know the cards that you're dealt, you know,
Mhm.
rather than not knowing at
Yeah.
all.
And
So
maybe use IVF as a second course or last resort type thing after
yeah,
really
yeah.
trying to.
After, yeah. And like knowing, you know, like kind of knowing what is going on and being like, I tried, you know, like I know what's going on and I'm doing everything I can to try to help, you know, combat those issues
Yep.
and then try IVF, you know, and your chances will probably be better,
Yeah.
you know. So, but yeah, again, it takes time. And a lot of these women feel like they don't have it, which is another hurdle and another podcast.
But ladies, you have time and you have the ability to take control and you have you have what it takes to boost your fertility
Mhm.
and to follow a strategy and to have more control in this whole
Yeah.
process and feel better.
And yeah, and you have
So,
us.
yeah, and we can help you. So,
Okay.
and we have crazy little kids, and they're 4, 5, 6. How old is Cam now? 5?
He's 4. He's gonna be
4.
5 in
4.
October. Yeah.
4, 2 4s and a 6-year-old, and not together, but um,
I know.
but we are living proof
We are
that it
not
can happen.
partners
And
in
we've
life.
been, yes. We've been told we're too old, and we're not too old, and we have
Mhm.
these, and you can too, and have faith in yourself and reach out to us. We have
Yeah.
courses online. You can find us at Reinventive Fertility on Facebook, Instagram, and our website is also Reinventive Fertility. And we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Reach out with any questions and keep listening to our podcast, because we're going to come out with hopefully another one soon, and kind of go over maybe another, like more specific issues that could be going on that could really be creating like an obstacle in your fertility.
Yeah.
So we really want to help you guys kind of get through this and be successful. So keep listening.
Okay. Signing off. Have a good night, ladies.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of the Fertility Happy Hour with Sandra and Leanne. We really enjoy doing these podcasts, and we hope to put more out in the future. Wanted to just quickly update you guys on what we're working on next. We really wanted to reach as many people as possible when we do our in-person treatments. We do a lot of like a coaching aspect, and we really dive deep to try to figure out what has been going on, in your life and what your body is kind of presenting to us. And with our experience and our 20 years of experience in the medical profession, our brains are just naturally trained to kind of pick up on signals and red flags, and kind of know where to start navigating, to find the solutions, the possible solutions for these problems. What we found is that although reproductive endocrinologists are great at what they do, they're not really there to try to figure out what the problem is. They're there to really just give you the solution of, okay, you can't get pregnant naturally, so we're going to try in this way. But we firmly believe that if there is something going on in your body, even if you do IVF or IUI and you're not addressing the problem, you're not going to have the solution. You're not going to be successful. And with our experience, that what we've learned with the last couple of years that we've been doing this fertility practice, a lot of women really aren't in tune with figuring out what is going on in their bodies. And, rightfully so. We just rely on medical professionals to kind of guide us in the right way. And we are the medical professionals who are going to do that for you. Think of us as like the middlemen between yourself and the reproductive endocrinologist or your gynecologist, where we really, try to figure out what are possible problems, and we can guide you to the right solutions for these problems. So what we're working on is doing a 4-week course. It's going to be a live course. Every week we're doing different topics, that kind of hit on different things that we really firmly believe you need to know about your body, your lifestyle, possible medical diagnoses, and most importantly, solutions that you need to take to start increasing your chances of getting pregnant. This course is going to be so refreshing for you. Leanne and I both pride ourselves on being relatable, being personable, and really making life and this journey just a little bit less stressful for you. So we hope that you really consider taking this course. If you have been struggling for over a year, if you're over the age of 35, if you've seen your friends and family members have baby after baby after baby, and you're just not ready to do IVF yet, or maybe you have done IVF and you've been unsuccessful, you're just not ready to give up, and you want to know, what else can I do? And you don't want to walk away from your journey thinking, there's probably more that I could have done and I didn't. So this course can really help you just get to the root of the problems, and just really, really dig deep on what else could be done. We want to help you figure this out, and that's what we do with our in-person clients. We hold their hand, we walk them through step by step. We're there with you, with them, every step of the way, every bad news or good news, and just trying to figure things out. And that's what we're doing in this course, and we're really excited about it, and we really think that this is going to make a pretty big difference in your journey. So stay tuned. We're hoping to have it all set up for the end of this month or early next month. So just keep listening to our podcast or checking Instagram, and you'll see updates on when this is all going to happen. And feel free to reach out if you want to be put on a wait list. You can always reach out to us and let us know. You can email us at sandra-leanne@reinventiverehab.com, or just message us on Instagram. Our handle is Reinventive Fertility. All right, well, thanks again for staying tuned, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.